Please, our colleagues, we are going to hear to the wife of the president.
To the World Association of Women Journalists, ברוכות הבאות למשכן נשיאי ישראל. This was really Hebrew, and then it's quite all right with me if you say it's Hebrew to me, and but I do hope sincerely that you won't say it is Hebrew to me while I continue speaking English, because it is meant to be English, but people, I noticed here and there that people that in the beginning especially are exposed to my English start looking pale and tremble and look kind of mixed up, as though trying to locate the language. It's not French, it's not Spanish, it's not Turkish, it's not English, and really the confusion is big till they get used. So this is the warning, and I beg your pardon if it's not as it should be. And seriously, it is a great pleasure to tell you in Hebrew and in English, whatever it is, how delighted I am to welcome all of you to the President's residence, all the distinguished guests participating in the Congress of the World Association of Women Journalists. Though you are guests here, and I'm supposed to be the hostess, I must confess that I myself feel very much as being still a guest here, because it's a short time that we are here, and many things that are new to you are new to me as well, including the name and the title. So when they say Mrs. Katsir and they say Mrs. President, I always look around to see whom do they mean, if it is really meant to me. So yours is really the one of the first, or to be exact, the second group. The first was of the mass communication of very distinguished ladies from many continents, from 4 continents. But really this group is, while I speak to you, I feel quite humble, I must say, because I'm neither a born speaker nor a trained speaker, and as you see I use the written notes because I'm afraid that I will forget a very precious thought or word. And between you, all of the distinguished guests that are assembled here represent a really very brilliant and exciting gathering of, one may say, the best of the brains that are in the world all around. This is, I believe, the best of the fourth estate. There are some men journalists, but after all, those are, of course, the best. And while speaking about women's rights, I must say that all of you, dear guests, are here really by merit of your own capacities, gifts, brains, effort, and all that combines to having an exciting personality of a journalist, of a writer, of a broadcaster, of all the people that work with the media, mass media, while I'm here just, if I may say, a complete protagonist to the Women's Lib, because it's not only my merit, but it's just because I happen to be the wife of Ephraim Katsir that I'm here. So this is one more cause to feel more humble than otherwise. perhaps in addition to all the newsworthy nature of contemporary Israel, there is as well a historic justification for women journalists' choice of convening here. Israel's tradition begins with the very first independent-minded women. Well, you know whom I mean. It's our dear Mother Eve. And she certainly showed her independence by going exactly the way she wanted. And at this point, I would like, I think that to be just, one should comment on Adam's behavior while he was called as an accused before the court of the God Almighty. And those of you that happen to open the Bible and are familiar with it, remember that in the report of the trial, which comes in the beginning of the Bible, he says, the woman thou gavest to be with me, she gave me of the tree, and I did eat. It was certainly not the most gentlemanlike thing to say, throwing the blame on somebody else. Then, long after Eve, we come upon the first woman war reporter, who is, of course, Deborah, judge and general, who in her song after the victory gave, as you remember, a meticulous really description of the chaos that preceded the struggle, the volunteering effort, and the battle and the fight in Ta'anach by the waters of Megiddo, so that you had here good representatives in the times of the Bible. Deborah speak about war, but I hope that the worthy successors, as I see you, all of the guests to Deborah may be able and will be able to write a fascinating peace report from this country, where all of us, you and me and all the citizens here around, and I hope across the border, are looking very much and longing for peace. Here in this country, while touring, you will at least be seeing the effort we are making to have many ethnic groups live together in friendship, and you will, I trust, note that we are much closer to the Arab-Jewish coexistence than sometimes a newspaper account makes out. This was your first day in Jerusalem, and I'm sure that you have been able to see some of the touching sides of the old and new in this city, holy to all the creeds all over the world, to Jews, Christians, and Muslims alike. And I hope that before you leave, Jerusalem will capture your hearts as it did to me. I'm an old Jerusalemite who moved then to Rehovot, and now I'm coming back. And of all the people of Israel who consider it really a very special and beloved place. From here, I have read through this program, and I understand that you will go touring partly, and it is not really too difficult to know the whole country. As you know, this is a small country, and it is told that once a tourist was taken for a tour, and he was told, here we go, here we are at the north, at the Golan Heights, here we are at the south. Then within a few hours he has seen the west border and the east border, and finally he grew very excited and unhappy and nervous, and he said to his guide, Listen, who do you think I am? Do you take me for an idiot? You show me only the borders. I know them already. But tell me, where is the country? So this you will find as well. You will be seeing many aspects of our country, and I'm certain that for all its geographical smallness, you will find problems practically as complex and varied as those of a large country, who are rich in problems too. This is one of the things that we are really rich in. You will pay particular attention to the place of women in public life, in the armed forces, and in the kibbutzim. And I must say that I'm very happy I was very happy when I read that you plan to spend 2 days in a kibbutz, because this is really Israel's unique contribution to the new social structure. And one of the aspects that I hope will leave on you a strong impression. In general, I hope that your stay among us will give you an overall view of the way in which Israel has developed during the 25 last years of statehood. You will see the problems, achievements, and aspiration. As all of the present guests here are journalists, I'm pretty sure that the first thing that you did was to ask or to look at an Israeli newspaper, at the Israeli press, and of course one imagines what a terrible shock it is to somebody to see a newspaper, to turn it this way and that way, and just it doesn't make sense. But it was already before that Professor Higgins who mentioned, My Fair Lady, the Hebrew learn it backwards, which is absolutely frightening. But we got used to it, and we know Hebrew, and even our babies know Hebrew. I've been told that in Paris, in France, that even the little children, the babies speak French. So we managed to say that, to do the same with Hebrew. I hope that the last page is not lost. Not only the reading, but understanding is sometimes frightening, understanding of the press to people who understand Hebrew. We have perhaps the most varied number of newspapers in the world. It's the magic number of 13. I don't know if you believe that's a good luck or otherwise, but we have 13 daily newspapers in Hebrew and other dailies in English, German, Hungarian, Polish, Yiddish, Bulgarian, Romanian, Spanish, and Arabic. Apart from this, we have numerous weeklies and other magazines. And then, if you compare these figures to the population of 3 million that we have with the numbers of papers appearing in a country or city of comparable size anywhere else, you will agree that we are indeed voracious readers and slaves, to some extent, of the printed word. As you know, of course, the Jews were called the people of the book, so maybe this is the justification for the many newspapers as well. But it is not only thanks to the high honor that the Jews have for the printed word. Maybe it is the number of the newspaper is due as well to the vigor with which the Israelis discuss things and argue. And because we have not only more newspapers than most people, but we have America, as small as it is, they have only 2 parties, and that's about. Israel has quite a number of parties. How many? About 12 or so parties.
Well, we are before elections, we don't know yet.
We don't know what may crop up. Before elections, they grew like mushrooms. And maybe it is due really to kind of stubbornness of Jewish people clinging to what they believe very strongly, right or not, and having the different opinions. They have it much, they hold their opinions much stronger than most of the people. I don't remember just now who said it, if it was that wherever you have 2 Jews, you have 1 president and 3 parties, 3 political parties. Well, I want to say something off record. I always heard people who were saying on the radio and on TV, mentioning important people saying, this of course will be off record. And I thought how silly people can be, speaking before newspapers or newspapermen or ladies and so on, saying this is off record, and now I'm committing the same mistake. Anyway, I would like to tell you about a little American girl who was taken the first time to the church on Sunday. Then when she, of course, she heard the usual, she heard the sermon of the pastor, and then she heard the choir, then the organ. After it was finished and they went home, the anxious parents asked the little girl, well, how was it? What's your impression? And she said, oh, well, it was okay. But, you know, the entertainment was all right, but the commercial was much too long. Well, I do hope sincerely that this doesn't refer to what I said, and no to other speeches that you will hear. Before you go, please be so kind and take along. It doesn't mean that I hope that we'll enjoy your presence here for some time, but when you do leave, please take along with you a copy of a newspaper which will say hello from the biblical times to you who are representatives of the newspapers in the very modern area of the 20th century. And there is one word that's really necessary in Israel, and it is not don't push, though sometimes you may need it, but the most beautiful word that we have is really shalom. First of all, it's an easy word because you may use it a lot when you say good morning, when you say we'll see you, when you say au revoir or salut, or when you say good afternoon or good evening. It always goes, and good night, it always goes just with shalom. But above all, it means peace. Peace be with you. So I will end with this shalom to you all.